Hi, guys. Today we're going to introduce ourselves and we're going to tell you a little bit about us. And we're also going to tell you why we started a podcast. So come on, join us.
Hey everybody, welcome to Table Talk. My name is Brant.
And my name is Kim.
And today is our very first podcast.
Our very first.
And I just want to introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about me, and then I'll let Kim introduce herself, and then we're going to share how we met. I'm a father of four. I live in the Atlanta metro area. I love sports, and I'm a business owner. Kim?
Well, an ex-New Yorker. We came from Florida. We now live in Georgia, which I never thought that I would ever live in Georgia.
Right.
So sometimes I pinch myself and say, how did I get to Georgia? But anyway, I'm an ex-Yankees fan.
Ex-Yankees fan.
Yes.
Now a Braves fan.
Of course, because I live here, so I have to support my team.
Right.
I'm a domestic engineer. I have 3.5 children. No, I don't have 3.5. I have 4. One, your daughter from another marriage. So,
Yes.
We have a blended family. Let me see. There's a lot to tell.
So what do you like to do for fun?
First of all, I'm kind of corny. I love to crochet, knit, all those things. I love YouTube. I'm always watching YouTube. That's why I was interested in the podcast.
Right. Because
I watch a lot of podcasters. I watch a lot of vloggers. I have some favorites. It's funny because a lot of them are younger than us, but
Right.
A lot of them are starting families. So it's cool to watch them give advice, having new babies. So I thought it would be good and different for us to be able to give advice, being that we have grown children now.
So we've been there and done that already.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that's it.
So that's a different take on things, you know.
Yeah.
Like you said, a lot of the up and coming people on YouTube, vloggers are young families. So
Right.
yeah, we bring a unique and interesting twist to the podcast world.
Right.
You know. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want to start off by let's talking about how we first met.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, so like I said, we're from Florida.
I'm interviewing you.
And exactly. We're from Florida, and we met in 1991. We both worked as corrections officers. And let me see. You were transferred to my facility.
Yeah, I was. You had been working at that facility for I guess about a year, right?
Right.
And then I was transferred to that facility because I was on probation, and when you're on probation, they make you move around a little bit.
Right.
So.
And you were very reluctant. You didn't want to come.
No, I was happy where I was, but you know it is.
Right.
You know, so
you have to go
were the,
wherever they place you.
Yeah. So you were the person. You were the person I first met there.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when you walked in the door, you looked a little lost.
Right.
So I had to guide you and tell you where to go.
Yep.
And I kind of gave you a little tour.
26 years and she's still guiding me.
I'm still guiding
and
you.
giving me a little tour.
You're still a little lost. But anyway, so then later on,
right.
like, Big Mama Bird, I had to come and check on you. So I called you and asked you how everything was going. And one thing led to another. And we ended up going to breakfast that morning after work because we worked the Alpha shift, 11 to 7 in the morning.
Right.
And we ended up going to breakfast, and
the rest is history.
That's it.
No.
I know. And you fell in love and you fell hard.
Wow. I mean, I guess you were that was your pursuit. Right? Ended up being a pursuit of happiness. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it was your pursuit.
Whatever.
But now that I think about it, it's like, wow, that is what happened. When you're a guy, you're just like, whatever, doing your thing, and you don't realize what's going on, and all of a sudden, here I am,
All right.
Wow.
Yes, because
you pursued me.
I put a rope around your neck, and I just reeled you in.
You
get it.
You did.
I get it.
Well, you were
If that's the story you want to
are.
stick with, then you stick with that story.
Yeah. That was amazing. That was amazing. So after that, what happened?
Oh, wow. Okay, so it was not an easy ride. When we started dating,
Early 90s.
well, first we were trying to keep it on the down low because we did not want people.
Well, you're at work, you know.
Right,
You
we
didn't
just
want-
didn't want people
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah.
But then eventually people started to find out, and then after a while we were riding to work together and everything. So after a while we didn't care.
It's kind of hard to hide love. Isn't it?
Whatever. Okay.
No, I mean, that's what it was. I mean, you think about it, it's like, oh, who cares? Let's, we can come out and
Right.
do our thing.
Right. And so there were not a lot of supporters. We didn't have a lot of cheerleaders cheering for us.
Right, because of the interracial thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But the majority of the people did support us, but there were others who did not, which they tried to make it hard, but
I just think those are the guys you told no before me. That's what it was.
No, I just think it
Yes.
was-
They said, oh, no. That's what it was.
no, I just think it was
'Cause I was
guys.
new. I was new there.
Right.
So it's
And
like,
and they did not like you because they felt like you came. Well, what it was I made a vow not to date on the job.
Right.
It was just so much going on, and everybody was dating everybody, and I was like, this is not the scene. So it's funny that we ended up dating because that was like one of the rules I had.
I came and broke the rule, turned your world upside
Yeah,
down.
well, you paid me, and so I said, okay.
I paid you. That's about right. That's about
No,
right.
but a lot of people were. Well, I keep saying a lot. It was not a lot, but it was enough to become annoying.
Right.
And I think what happened is it backfired because once they realized that I did not care, that they did not accept it, then I think they just had to kind of go with it because
Right.
it was getting a little volatile. I was approached. I had inmates with me, and I was approached by someone, and he made comments, and I was just like, really?
Like, you got to be kidding me, right?
And I said a few things that I will not say now,
Yeah.
but I think from that point on, it was an easy ride.
Right.
And so everyone was accepting, everyone else was accepting, and it made it nice, And then in 1992, so that was 91, February of 91, we were
92,
married.
we got married.
We were married a year later in
Yeah.
February of 92.
Right.
February 15th, the day after Valentine's
Yeah.
Day. And so we were married, had a nice, lovely wedding.
Beautiful wedding, in which you put together, by the way.
Right.
I feel like I kind of showed up for that, even though I was actually.
No, you participated.
No, I know, but I mean, it was just it was extravagant. I mean, when I say extravagant, it was extravagant for what she did, the budget that we had.
Well, yeah, because we
it was
had a great-
amazing.
Right.
It was amazing.
To pat myself on the back, I think I did a lot with our budget.
Oh, it was,
So a lot of
you
people
killed it.
Yeah, a lot of people
killed it.
talked about it and they loved it and it was enjoyable.
So-
but that's what a wedding should be, enjoyable.
Well, it just goes to show you, not getting off the beaten path, but if you want to get married and you're on a tight budget, there's a lot of things you can do that saves money.
Right.
And a little sweat equity in it.
Right.
Right.
But the thing that was so nice is it was done in a nice way. So even though we did it ourselves, it wasn't like it looked like it.
Right.
That's the thing. So we
Oh, it was first class.
yeah,
I
it was
mean,
a nice wedding.
It was first class, and there was everybody that attended, which was a lot of people, said they loved it. They loved it. I mean,
right.
the interaction, the different things that we did. You know, I don't want to keep going into
Yeah.
that, getting off a little path, but
Yeah.
it was an exciting time when
Right.
we got married. And then all of a sudden, we had kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Immediately, we had kids. We had our first Kyle in 1993.
Three.
Yeah, and he was a boy, and I always thought that I would have a girl.
Right.
A boy never came to mind. I just always assumed I would have a girl.
And she was going to be named Jessica Nicole.
Right, I had the name picked out, Jessica
was-
Nicole, and I mean for the longest time. So I just knew this was
Right.
going to be my daughter.
Right.
No,
Didn't happen.
didn't happen. So then, the next year, we got pregnant again. Brandon came in 1993. 94, I'm sorry.
1994.
94. And it was funny because at work, everybody was like, "Oh, we need to buy you guys a TV." I was like,
We have one.
It's
We
only
just don't
my
turn it on.
second. It's only my second
I
child.
know, but you know what it was, right? We were newly married, and boom, boom.
Yeah.
Within a couple of years,
Yeah,
we
but
had
we
two
did
children.
it because I was older. When we met, I was
I
27.
mean, we were in our late 20s.
Yeah, I was 27. So I had my first at 28
Yeah.
and then 29. But then our third one came along in 1997. And whew, that was really hard because I figured, okay, this is going to be our last. So let's go and get a book. We purchased the book.
Right?
I was reading the book.
But didn't really get in. We really didn't get a chance to get in all the way in the book. And what happened?
Bam, I was pregnant.
Bam.
And
So
it was too late.
Yeah.
Could not try anything that the book.
So we were going to try, different things too, whether it was eating habits or whatever the book said at that
To
time.
have a little girl.
Right.
And
To have a little girl.
I was already pregnant, so
Yeah.
I figured, okay, so God knows I want this little girl so bad, so this must be a little girl.
Right.
And so as time went on, the pregnancy was much different. I was really sick. Remember how sick
Right.
I had gotten? I had
It
gotten
was-
so sick that the doctor admitted me in the hospital.
Yeah. I remember at one point I was kind of living out of my car for a little while.
Right.
Or the van.
Right.
So here I am. I had two little boys at home. I had my daughter, and then here you are pregnant. And, well, Marissa didn't live with us, but I'm just
Right.
saying that, she was around. And I couldn't cook.
Right.
The
wear
smells,
cologne.
I couldn't wear cologne.
Right.
So all these things, man, it was.
I was so sick I couldn't
you
even
could-
hold water down.
I'm working full time, and you're home. I had an in-home nurse for like a
Right,
month or two.
right.
You forgot about that, didn't
Right.
you? Yeah.
I
See,
did.
yeah, we
I
had
was
an
so
in-home
sick.
nurse. I mean, the whole
But then
nine
my
yards.
girlfriend came over to help with the kids
Yeah.
because I couldn't.
It was a
care for
wreck.
them.
It was a
I
wreck.
couldn't do anything. I was just a limp rag. And the doctor was mad at me because at one point he said it was okay for the baby, but then he didn't realize that I hadn't eaten
For 45 days.
right. And I lost so much weight.
Yeah.
Wow, I need to get pregnant again because I look good.
Man, I need to go 45 days without eating. That'd be awesome.
I looked really good.
Yeah.
So, but then of course, once everything got back on track, then of course I gained the weight and whatever. But when we finally went for the sonogram, remember that? We went for the sonogram and I was like, yes, we're going to find out that it's a girl. And it was not.
It was Chad.
It was Chad. And I was sad.
But you know what? I mean, honestly, Kim was a girly girl when I met her, and when we started having boys, and little boys are naturally, it wasn't even something we were doing. They're naturally, you walk down the hallway, they throw an elbow out, they're always a little rougher. And you really got into it.
Oh no, I loved
you
it.
really
no, but that's what I was going to
embraced
say.
it,
I was going to say that even though it wasn't a girl, I was like shocked for the moment. But once he came, first of all, every child, once they came, it was like, oh my God, this love
Yeah.
that you just never imagined that you could have. You didn't know you could love so much. And then I was depressed when I found out I was pregnant with the second one, remember? Because I was like, the first one hasn't been here long enough for me to love him as much. How can I show this love for another one? But it's instant.
Yeah.
As soon as they're born, and you love them all. But the funny part about it was I just wanted it to be a girl. When he came, remember Brandon, the middle one, used to always pat my stomach and say, Jessica.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't get over the fact that Jessica then became Chad.
Yeah.
And that was funny. But you know what? I just want to go back when I first had Kyle. The first time I realized I had a baby was I wanted to go to 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee. Because remember, I had a Slurpee fetish.
Right.
And I went to go in to the store and I realized I have to take the baby out of the car seat and put him in a carrier to go into the store because they didn't have the carriers that clip clipped in yet.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So
The Slurpee fetish was gone.
out the window.
was
But
out
that's
the
when
window.
I realized. That's when it kicked in and said, I have a child.
And then the following year with our second child, that already
Oh
the
yeah,
technology was already
right.
there.
The technology was definitely
So
there was-
you had the clip-in seat, you
Right.
can pull it out, and you're
Right.
gone. Make it a little easier,
right.
But
The
still,
nicer strollers, everything
Yeah.
was like starting to become more high tech.
right?
But yeah. So it was interesting, but it was fun. I enjoyed having my boys. I really did. As much as I wanted a girl, I then realized I really don't want a girl. You know, because they were so much fun. They were easy. You know, everyone loved them. Wherever we took them, they were very mannerable.
Yeah, I remember going out to, if you don't mind me, I remember going out to, to dinner like on the weekends, and they were like young, right? I mean, they were like 1 year old, 2 years old, in that range, but they were always like little men,
Right.
They were really good. They weren't really that fidgety. I don't know, man. We got we were really blessed with that because
Oh, I say that
I
all the time.
remember all the older people used to come up. I was like, I mean, I got used to it after a while, but at first it was like, oh, thank you,
Yeah, but it was like, well, they should be like this. That's
Right.
how I thought. But then
So
as
did I.
time went on, we started to see other children. We were like, oh, okay, our kids really are good.
Yeah.
But I always said that we were blessed, because when you look at it, people always say, oh, you're great parents. You can be great parents. You really can. Because I think sometimes people mistake and say, oh, well, the parents aren't good. But if your children decide they want to act out, they will.
Well, it's called free will.
There you go.
You know,
There you
I'm,
go.
I'm serious. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen parents that were phenomenal, but kids didn't turn out so great, So, yeah, I mean, I think early on in parenting, although there is no handbook for parenting, what you do is you try to formulate a game plan, based on your beliefs and your traditions and customs and culture and all those type of things, and you try to get it to a point where they're that they behave and they're respectful and they listen. It's not easy, Cam.
No, it's not.
You
Well,
know.
I know. I was there.
Not easy, yeah.
But the thing about it is they're very mannerable. That's what I love about my kids. Everything we taught them, they practice it as they've gotten older. All the years that I've gone by, they've always held doors for people. They always say thank you, yes ma'am, no ma'am. All the things that a young man should do.
Right.
I know there came a time when they were getting older, and I used to always tell people, oh, well, when my kids meet girls, I need to really, interview the girls because I'm giving them,
Well, we know our guys are going to be right.
right, I'm like, I'm giving them a good man.
Yeah.
So let's see what you have, because I see so many kids today, they have no manners, none. And no one's there to teach them.
Right. Well, you have to understand. I mean, this is another show, of course, but you're talking about one parent sometimes who works.
Right.
I mean, it's not easy out there.
No,
You
I
know?
know. I know.
And then you got to hope the parents 100% on point and no issues.
Right.
Then grandma's involved and so it's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
It really is.
I know.
So we got our kids to a point where they're I guess involved in extracurricular activities.
Yes.
One of the things that I want to talk about is sports. How'd you like that?
Oh, I love it because I love them playing sports.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the infamous
T-ball.
T-ball.
Yeah.
T-ball was
It
exciting.
all started with T-ball and baseball.
Right. And that's when
Kyle.
we realized that we didn't like a lot of people out there.
Right. Right. Well, it was kind of, I don't want to use the word devastating, but devastating when you have parents we're playing. Now, these kids, mind you, are 5 years old, 5 and 6 years old, and the parents are like ruthless and brutal and talking about the kid who missed the catch at
Right.
5 and 6 years
Oh,
old. I'm
my
like, oh my
goodness.
God. I'm glad it wasn't my kid that missed the catch.
I know.
Our kids were very good athletes growing up. But
You know what? It was funny because now this was past T-ball. They were actually playing. I don't even know what you call that, but he was older, so they were catching, and they were
Little
able-
League. It was Little League.
Little League. Okay, and Kyle was out in the outfield. He was really good, and I was listening to parents talk about other kids, and I'm like, that kid's parent is right there. How could you talk about them like that? So,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, thank God my kid is good. But I was still a little upset because I was like, what if he wasn't?
Yeah.
That would be my kid you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, I was like, wow, this is too much. But anyway, I just wanted to touch base on the time Kyle got hit in the eye with the fly ball.
Oh my goodness.
And
I was coaching that team, right? Yeah, I coached. I coached all the team.
Yeah, you were.
So you
And,
go. Want me to tell the story?
yeah, you can tell.
So he goes up for a fly ball in the outfield. Good little player, but it was young. And he puts his glove up, and the ball missed the glove, and he gets hit square under the eye, black eye. Was it under the eye or on the eye?
It was on the eye.
On the eye.
'Cause he
All
was
this was
angry.
black.
He was angry.
Yeah, and he threw that glove. He marched off that field. But he wanted to quit. I mean, I get it, He
Yeah.
was devastated, but we'd never let them. Once you start something, we made them finish.
Yeah, we made him go back on the
And
field
you know
and
what?
finish
That
the
was
game.
one of the things I think that I was most proud of
Uh-huh.
is showing your kids how to see it through adversity.
But I could understand at that moment because he
Okay.
was. I mean, it hurt.
Yeah.
So he was.
Oh, that
like,
wasn't nothing nice.
I am not doing this
Yeah.
anymore. And he didn't. Once he finished the season, he was done with baseball.
He was done.
He was a
I
good
mean,
little player.
He was, but even over the years, when I used to, I had to get tennis balls and throw to him. He
Yeah.
You know what? He just.
Oh yeah, he was gun shy.
It was.
He
it was
didn't want
done.
any part of a ball being thrown at his
That
face.
was
at all.
that was something that he just wasn't going to do anymore.
Yeah.
And then you had Brandon, our middle son.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was a good little player.
He was a good player, but he wore glasses.
Yeah.
And he had an
He
issue
had
with
a
one of his
problem
eyes.
with one eye.
Yeah.
And he was a great player.
Great player.
And every time he got up to hit, he would smack the ball out of the park.
But what happened was, after he got older and was playing big kid baseball, right? He couldn't really see the ball as much, and he had to move on from baseball, and then he started
To
playing
football.
He started playing football.
And then Chad played just T-ball
Just the ball
because he did not like baseball at all.
was not coachable at
No.
all.
And when you tried to coach him, he just stomped his foot and was like, no, it was like he was so angry.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I want to do.
He had a spirit about him, boy.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
He did. But I coached that team, and he wasn't easy to coach at all. I was just like shaking my head,
No.
kind of laughing a little bit. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, this kid.
Because he has such a strong will.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and it's funny because he's so shy, but it's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, And just like if you make him mad and, he's supposed to do something, he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
He doesn't play.
He did better in football when, I wasn't coaching him.
Yeah.
And he was around other adults that were
Right.
coaching him. He was
Right.
phenomenal.
Right. Yeah, I think
could have
it's
just
that-
been my coaching style,
Right. Or no, I just
or
think
me
it's,
just being the dad.
right. You're the dad.
The other two were great.
But it's like everything else. If you try to give your kids advice, they don't listen.
Exactly.
And then when somebody else tells them the same thing you said, they're like, guess what? And you're like, really?
I've been saying that already.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's what it was, I believe. But, football was great for them. It was just hard on us.
Right.
as
we
the
were on the.
spectators. We were just, it was like an all day thing.
It was. I remember being on the field a lot of times like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Getting off the field 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at
Right,
night.
because they wanted 3 different teams. So it was
Yeah.
like, spread out. And
Yeah, it was brutal. It was
Now-
brutal.
that was bad. But grueling was when Brandon and Chad decided to wrestle.
Yeah, they started wrestling.
Kyle did track, so that wasn't so bad. But the wrestling, forget it. We were there all day. And we're talking about even one kid wrestling. See,
Right.
before football, it was all three. But when one wrestled, you're there all weekend, all day. And
Right.
you might see your kid wrestle 2 or 3 times.
Right. And you're
You
sitting
know?
around waiting, and you better hope you don't have to go to the bathroom right before the match and you miss a match.
You missed the whole match.
Right. Or they're getting up and then it's a forfeit
Right.
It's like, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
So.
But you know what? To be honest, I loved it. Didn't like it at first because I didn't know anybody who wrestled. You wrestled in high school,
I did.
but I was like, I didn't know anybody who wrestled. So once I got involved, the one thing I liked about the coach the very first year was he taught all the parents how to score and everything. So I felt like an old pro when I went.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much easier for you to enjoy it
Right.
because now you know what you're watching.
I want to take it back just a little further. I don't think you remember this one, but I remember Brandon was a smaller kid. So I started, I said, well, he's physical. He seems to be strong. Maybe wrestling might be a good thing for him because they have smaller, lower weight classes, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember taking him around at different tournaments along with my younger son, and my wife goes, "Why are you doing that? He can't go pro." And I said,
because
"Well,
I just didn't know wrestling to
you
be.
didn't know what it was,
Right, I didn't.
But I said, well, maybe he can get a college scholarship,
Right.
which he had a few of them,
Right.
that he
But
could
tell
have
the
taken.
story about how you are trying to mold the middle.
Oh
kid.
yeah. I'm molding my middle son, who Brandon was a couple years older, and the first 5 matches he lost in this one tournament. My younger boy, Chad, comes along and medals his very first tournament.
And he was just doing it for fun.
He was doing it for fun. So he gets the medal. And, so I said, well, Chad, we got another tournament coming up next month. He goes, okay, let me know. Right. Like he thought he was just going to go out there and do the same thing every time without working out.
But when he got the medal, wasn't he good?
He was.
Like he was like, no, I'm good.
Right.
It was like I got what I wanted, so
Right.
I'm done.
Oh,
but
my God.
the funny part, the thing about it, even though Brandon lost, you were molding him and getting him ready, where he became an unstoppable force.
Well, he placed in high school wrestling in 2 different states. 3 times out of 4. Went and traveled in wrestling. He did well. And Chad went on, our youngest one, to wrestle.
Right.
And he did well.
Right.
And
the hard part about that was, as much as I used to be like, every time we went to a match, when it was over, I was just depressed. I was like, oh, I miss it.
Our kids are all grown up and they're like out of that stage.
Right. No more sports.
So people don't realize that parents, they go through it too.
Right.
Not just the kids.
Right.
We go through all the hype of getting getting everything ready to rock and roll, and then 4 years later, it's like, wow, it's all over with.
It's over. So.
Yeah, it's all over with.
Anyway, so then Marissa.
Yeah, Marissa played basketball. Smart, straight A student.
Yes.
Did very well, and she did great.
Went on to college.
Went on to college.
And became a nurse.
Now she's a registered nurse, living her life and doing very good for herself. Very proud of her. She really led by example, a good example.
Oh,
Pretty
definitely.
good,
Yeah.
Pretty
Very
good.
smart girl.
Yep. And our youngest one's in college right now. So. And he's going on, hopefully, to pursue his career and his dreams.
Right.
He wants to be in the movie industry. So, hey, that's what you do. You push them and hopefully they, find what they want to do and do their thing.
Right. Right. Yep, exactly. So anyway. Okay, so now that we told you about a little bit about ourselves and our children, we'll go ahead and tell you why we wanted to start a podcast. You want to start?
I wanted to become an instant millionaire. I'm just kidding.
What?
We wanted to do a podcast.
Well, you have a business, so
like
you
that,
let
right?
that be.
I'm just kidding you.
You'll be a millionaire through your business.
Trust me, this is a great hobby, But we
Right.
wanted to share our lives a little bit,
Right.
We're in a different place in our lives, just like a lot of the younger people on YouTube will be one day. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yes,
And so we
definitely.
wanted to kind of give everybody a different take on things.
Well, yeah, because now our kids are leaving home.
Yeah.
You
They're
know,
all
we
leaving
have
home.
one out already. One's on his way out.
We have one left.
And so this gives us something to do.
Yeah.
I love it because, I always wanted to be on Broadway.
Well, yeah, Kim. You did a lot of off-Broadway stuff, right?
Yes, I did.
So I used to tease her, and I used to say, well, how far off-Broadway?
Right. Well, pretty far off. So, anyway, that's basically it. We wanted something to do, and we love to talk. I love to talk. So, basically, we wanted to invite you in and have table talk with us.
And it's an exciting time right now.
Right, it is.
You know?
It is. So, we're enjoying it so far.
We
It's
are.
good. I mean, what, 25, 30 minutes already?
Yeah, I know, right?
So, anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay. Well, Kim, let's wrap it up. Podcast number 1
Number 1.
is finished.
Great job.
Awesome.